This is Free Speech TV. I'm Gavin Dahl, and joined by Craig Aaron, the CEO and president of Freepress, and Michael Coops, former FCC commissioner and currently the senior advisor to the Media and Democracy Reform Initiative at Common Cause. We're excited because the Freepress National Conference for Media Reform is coming to Denver April 5th through the 7th, and we're going to talk a little bit today about media and democracy, the intersection. I wanted to start with the topic of transparency for political ads. An estimated $6 billion was spent during this last election. John F. Kennedy said, "A nation that is afraid to let its people judge the truth and falsehood in an open market is afraid of its people." So my question to you guys is, what is the FCC afraid of? Can't we fix this?
Well, apparently it's afraid of enforcing the authority it already has. There's a section of the Telecommunications Act called Section 317, which gives the FCC authority to compel disclosure of who is sponsoring ads, commercial ads or political ads. It's been on the books since way back when the FCC was first established. If we were enforcing that, the average viewer would be able to see on television when they're watching these anonymous political ads, instead of "this ad is brought to you by Citizens for a Red, White, and Blue America." You don't know who in the world that is. Might be a chemical company dumping sludge into the Great Lakes. You would know, say, the leading 3 or 4 sponsors of that. You would actually see that on the screen. Better yet, you'd actually hear the announcer say it. So you can get reform done. You can get this done without Congress passing a law, without the president proposing a thing. You just need the FCC to put this out for notice and comment for 90 or 120 days, get it done with, and it'll be instituted in plenty of time for the 2014 elections, and you know who was trying to buy your vote.
Over 1,000 people were coordinated with Freepress to go out and look into these public files at stations. What did you guys learn?
Well, you know, it was a really interesting fight, because these are public records, publicly available, but they were hidden away in dusty filing cabinets. So every television station in America keeps a record of who's buying ads, who's signing the checks. Yet they were never available online. We actually, at the FCC last year, were finally able to secure that all stations will have to put those records online, which is tremendous. And there's databases being built and people will be able to search, but it's not enough, because by the time someone has seen an ad 15, 20 times, whatever that ad is telling them, it gets ingrained and they start to believe it, even if they're later told it's not true. So even the best reporters trying to fact check at stations can't compete with the onslaught of misinformation. And that's why these kind of reforms that the commissioner is talking about are so important, because what it could actually do is give you that little trigger that says, you know what, puppies and kittens against Barack Obama, that's actually a project of Karl Rove, or whatever the case may be. And I think that this is the kind of simple, common sense reform that we need to be pursuing. It's going to be a long time before we are in a situation where maybe we have a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. That's a long-term fight. These kind of practical reforms are things we can do right now.
So FCC inaction is a bit of a problem. You mentioned Karl Rove. Can we talk a little bit about the forces working to keep the public in the dark, and also who's doing the work for small d democracy?
Sure. I mean, as far as the dark, I mean, it's a combination, right? Those who are working on elections, the last thing they want is more sunshine and transparency, at least on their side. But the problem is that it's become complicit with the broadcasting industry. So they're actually fighting, they're actually suing the FCC to keep those public files off from going online, things like that. So you've got news organizations that are supposed to be out there getting at the truth actually blocking public access. And I think that's where the scandal is. As far as who's out there fighting, groups like Common Cause have been leading the charge, Freepress, the Sunlight Foundation, many others who have gotten interested in this issue and helped bring these documents to light. I think now that the baseline is there, that's why we need to be pushing for greater reforms.
So we've seen 25% of the journalism workforce decimated in the past decade. On the topic of media consolidation, that is more and more mergers, less diversity, and shrinking newsrooms, I can't think of anyone else in the USA as familiar with the overwhelming public opposition to this as former FCC Commissioner Michael Coops. You traveled the country listening to people on this. What did you hear?
What I heard was that there is an appreciation of the fact that something has gone wrong with local broadcasting and commercial broadcasting generally, that the news is not what it used to be, that you've had a standardization and homogenization of music and total ignoring of diversity and minority communities. And even in this age, when money commands such outrageous power, and I don't think we've ever had an age in our history when money has been more influential than it is right now, people can still make a difference, because when we went out and talked to the American people, in concert with Freepress, in concert with senators and congressmen who were interested. It turned out that 3 million Americans wrote to the Federal Communications Commission and said, we don't like these rules that the Republican majority had put through. And when that happens, politicians take notice. And senators and congressmen then voted to disapprove those rules, and in the process of completely disapproving them when the court sent them back. So people can still make a difference.
That's Michael Coops, Senior Advisor to the Media and Democracy Reform Initiative at Common Cause, and Craig Aaron, CEO and President of Freepress. You're watching Free Speech TV. I'm Gavin Dahl from Alternative Radio. Thanks so much.
Free Speech TV is available nationally. Go further.